Good afternoon. My name is Daria Sullivan. I am a Hanceville resident as of August 2024. The truth is, I don't know one person up here. I've had nothing to do with any of you. I have looked at everything. I went and pulled old budgets. I've looked at what happened with the former messes that happened, the mess that happened with this. And before any decisions are made regarding the police department, I would like to know what makes this board feel qualified to make any decisions at all. I read the district attorney's report today, and I would like to know what makes this board feel that they are qualified at this point to make any decisions.
Amen.
Right now, the city of Hanceville is being covered by Coleman County Sheriff's Department. Is that correct? Am I correct in that assumption? So it is my opinion that any decisions should be tabled until special elections are held, because I believe that every single person up there should be resigning. Based on what has occurred with this police department, you are not responsible for the running of the police department, but you are responsible for knowing what is going on. And that did not happen. And that is clear from the report today issued by the district attorney that is in his inventory that was published today. In the event you all feel that you're qualified to make a decision, why is it necessary to have all or nothing? Right now, the city of Hanceville is not in a position to hire a brand new police force. You also, right now, have already contracted out with Coleman County Sheriff's Office. Could someone tell me how much it is costing to have Coleman County Sheriff's Office cover the city of Hanceville? Does anybody have a number?
We may get that for you here to show you today.
Okay, so then why does a decision have to be made? Why can the decision not be tabled and you either contract out with another police force for a period of 15 months? So that gives
If you will, if you'd state your name and address.
Good afternoon, I'm Bo Garrison. I live in White City, but I pastor a church here in the city of Hanceville. And it's my understanding that we need a police force. We've had one. I'm 67 years old. We've always had a police force. I think we need to rebuild this police force from the ground up. What used to work don't work no more. We need to start all over for a clean slate, whatever happened. And as far as these are enchanted by the board here, this is election year, ain't it? Get out and vote. If you feel like you're qualified to put yourself on the ballot, get out and vote. But I believe we, as myself, as our churches over here, I believe we need a police department. And we stand fully behind it. And I think that we need qualified people choosing our police department. I think that's real important. I've been reorganizing all my life, and I know that it's time now for a reorganization.
Street. I'd like to request the council table the decision on whether or not to have a police department. News coverage of the last meeting said the overwhelming majority wanted to keep a police department. However, a poll taken by the Coleman Daily showed 83% in favor of abolishing it. In a town of over 3,000 citizens, the 3 dozen or so that showed up to the last meeting are not necessarily representative of what the majority of the citizens want. The best thing to do would be to allow the citizens to decide the issue by putting it on the next election's ballot and work to provide as much information to the citizens as possible so they can make an informed decision. A former Hanceville mayor suggested letting the elected council decide the issue was also a reasonable idea. John Adams wrote that liberty cannot be preserved without a general knowledge of the people. On March the 1st, I submitted a public records request to the city of Hanceville and have yet to receive the records I requested. I went to City Hall and talked to the mayor about being able to inspect the records I was interested in and was told that I could not. I was asked to fill out and sign a form that stated I'd be charged $1 a page and I'd have to make a deposit. I'm aware that others have requested information of the city regarding the claim that the prior that prior to the dispatcher's death, an effort was made to reach out for help. Alabama Code 361240 states that every citizen has a right to inspect and take a copy of any public writing of this state.
Yes.
The governor issued Executive Order 734 in 2023 instructing how open records requests should be handled. I requested Hanceville comply with the EO and the Alabama Open Records Act, but it's unclear whether they will do so. Please provide the requested public records and table the issue today. We've only had 2 weeks to see how Coleman County performs. If the plan here is to have the same mayor and council just hire different police officers but nothing else change, that would meet Einstein's definition of insanity, trying the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Before deciding to go against the grand jury's recommendation, please tell the citizens exactly what is going to be done differently to ensure the proper supervision and training of the Hanceville Police Department. The mayor and council need to ensure that citizens will not be getting their civil rights violated going forward at the hands of Hanceville police employees. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Turned up a little bit.
You state your name and address, okay?
All right, my name is Jacqueline Twist. I live on Wattsville Street in Hanceville. I've been a resident here for 18 months. It didn't take me that long to realize that there was some shady stuff going on in Hanceville. I didn't realize the extent of it. As far as the police department goes, I've heard the term bandied around about oversight. We need citizen oversight. Isn't that your job as the councilman? Should you not have been the ones that were doing the oversight for the police department? And if we rebuild the police department, which I think you should, who's going to be doing the oversight? And who did that police chief report to? You guys not do the oversight? Did he not report to the mayor? Did you guys not elect him or
Ma'am,
find him?
I'll probably interject. It's a public comment. They'll answer these type questions.
Okay.
If everybody comes up and they have to answer everybody's questions, they'll be all night.
Okay.
So it's
And
not
that-
that they're not listening to your questions, but it's not an answer question session. They really want to hear what you all have to say.
I think that we need to rebuild the police department. I think we need to re-elect all of you guys, and not re-elect you guys, but get new people up there that will do the oversight of the police department like it should have been done.
Amen.
What the council were to choose to do.
Sure, yes, sir, Mayor. Let me see if I can get this thing here. All right, we go. So, I want to try to address both sides at the same time, but, you know, I know there's a lot of fear and a lot of concerns, and we fully understand that. And so right now, I want to speak to the citizens of Hanceville and the community. So, you're feeling all kind of emotions, and we know that. You can see it. You can feel it in the air. But let me say this. Once we found out that there was issues and there was these indictments come down, then, of course, the mayor and them reached out to us and said, we need help. Now, I grew up here. This is my home. This is where our deputies, this is what we do. And so we said, listen, we're going to be here to help you. We're going to be here to work with you through this process, whatever you decide. This is y'all's decision, not mine. So the day this come down and the day we found out about this, we said, so most people don't know, at the Coleman County Sheriff's Office, you have all of Coleman County, and as the sheriff, you're the sheriff of all the county, not just one community here or there. I'm the sheriff of Hanceville, I'm the sheriff of New Canaan, I'm the sheriff of Good Hope. And so when this came down, we're very blessed in Coleman because we have a good working relationship with the community and everybody. So one of the first things we looked at the sheriff's office, when I'm fully staffed, I have around just shy of 170 employees. We have over what I call 100 gun toters. That's deputies, could be investigators, could be working at the courthouse, could be on patrol, all the different areas that we cover at the sheriff's office. Then we run dispatch, and then we run the jail. So we have a detention facility that, you know, on an average day in and day out, we run 400 to 430 inmates. We house city inmates, we house county inmates, we house state inmates, and we house federal inmates. So when this come down, we knew that Hanceville was going to be in a process of hurt, anger, rebuilding to figure out what the mayor and the council can do that's going to best meet the needs of the citizens. So we told the mayor, on a certain day, your deputies would take over dispatching, or our dispatchers would take over dispatching and patrol in Hanceville. So let me explain our dispatching system. Most counties have a lot of municipalities in there. We don't have that in Coleman County. We only have 2 with law enforcement. That's the city of Hanceville and the city of Coleman. But we have 3 PSAPs. Now what that means is 3 dispatch centers. It's really a blessing because if a storm hits one, if the sheriff's office went down, then the city of Coleman or Hanceville could dispatch. So that was an easy switch for us to help out while we worked through this process. So at a certain time, we took over dispatching. Hanceville averages about 8,000 calls a year, just shy of 8,000. So what we did then is we took a deputy that's off duty and we're paying them overtime to be solely in Hanceville. Just so you know how your deputies work, when our deputies come on duty, they come out in the community, they're on duty right then. They're not dispatched from the sheriff's office in the middle of Coleman. They're down here. So when calls come out, they're already in your area. Let's say one of them made an arrest, because I know response time was always a big question that I've heard in this. So right now, and we've checked the numbers, our response time is the same or similar to what Hanceville Police Department was providing. Now, of course, our deputies have not been in this area a lot, so they're probably learning the streets and the roads and those kind of things. But so far, it's been a very smooth process while we're doing this. So that was kind of the first thing. We took over dispatching so they could work through the process. And then we have deputies that are down here that we're paying overtime to be in your area, to make sure that this area is taken care of. Just like in our sheriff's office, we have 7 districts. So we just put a deputy down here like an 8th district. So that was the first part, to make sure that you're taken care of, that you never miss a beat. If you need help, the deputies are here. If something happened, let's say the deputy that works Hanceville, because I had this question, well, what happens if they make an arrest? If a deputy makes an arrest in Hanceville and they're transporting that prisoner to the Coleman County Detention Center, which is where they all go, then if there's a call comes out, then the 2 adjoining deputies that join this area, one of them would slide over and provide that law enforcement and catch those calls while maybe they're booking someone in at the detention facility. That way, the biggest thing, and this is what the mayor and the council expressed to me, is we know we're in a tough time, but we don't want our citizens to miss 1 ounce of anything as far as being protected. They told me that. They said, we want to make sure that they're not losing anything. They're upset, they're scared, they don't know what's going on, so that's the first thing we did. Now, there's a lot of questions and a lot of rumors, and I'm here to help the mayor and the council make decisions on what can best meet the needs of the citizens. And I will say this, I know the young lady that was up here asking about, well, some of these people work for us. That is correct. And when we fire law enforcement, it is the job of a chief of police. If I fire you or you leave, it is the job of that chief to call, like what we do at the sheriff's office. If you leave another law enforcement agency, or if you work a civilian job and you're coming into law enforcement, we do background checks, we take tests, we do all of these things to ensure an interview process. There's a whole big line of process before we hire someone. So if they did work there, because a couple of those guys did, but they were either terminated or left because they didn't meet our standards, then it's the responsibility of that law enforcement agency, because we flagged them with a post for them to call. So that should happen. I will say this, we never got any phone calls. I'm not blaming the mayor or the council. That is the job of the chief of police.
Yes.
So that is his job, the one that they had to do those things. And you should have a process. So right now, it's looking at an average, and this is one of the things I wanted to talk to the mayor and the council. Right now, we're providing 24-hour law enforcement, paying overtime, which I'll say, we can do it, but we can't sustain that forever because our guys are working on their off days here. Again, we know that you can only work so much before you're just wore slap out. But what it's averaging right now is about $25,000 a month is what it's costing us just on salaries to provide 24-hour law enforcement. That doesn't count vehicles, fuel, or anything else. That's just the basic 24-hour coverage with deputies assigned that are working in this area to the community. So, you know, I would ask, that's something maybe the mayor and the council, something that y'all talk about, looking at possibly reimbursing us. It would help, because that was something that we had not prepared for, just like y'all. We didn't know this was coming about. So, but it's a trying time, and you've got to figure out and work with the mayor and the council to say what is going to be the best for the community. So you've got some decisions, and so you can do this on many levels. Of course, mayor and council, y'all can rebuild an entire police department, dispatch center, jail. I mean, because that's what y'all have always ran. We're more than happy to go into negotiations with y'all. If you don't want to run a jail, we already house City of Coleman inmates. We house county inmates. We house state inmates. We house federal inmates. That's an option. If you say, we don't want nothing to do with the jail, we'll be more than happy to negotiate and talk with y'all about that. Same way with, if you say, I don't want to run dispatch or jail, we'll meet and talk. And if you say, we don't want to do any of it, then we would meet and talk. I will say this, we've already looked at what it would take to cover for if the mayor and the council decided today and said, we don't want any more law, we don't want a police department. What it would take is a minimum of 20 employees for us to hire to make sure that everything and the needs is met. That counts jail, dispatch, and patrol down here, and assigning another investigator to work all the felony cases in your area. So, and again, I'm here to help the mayor and the council, whatever y'all decide with the community. You know, we'll work with you through that process, whatever it takes to make it good for this community. This is a great community.
He's got to let us talk,
So-
though. He's got to let us talk.
I know, we'll talk. But this is a great community. I mean, if it wasn't a great community, you wouldn't have all these citizens here. You know, you can tell the citizens love their community, they want good law enforcement, they want good leadership, and so we're here to help. And again, I want to dispel, if there's rumors, we'll dispel rumors. Somebody asked me the question one time, they said, well, again, we didn't have anything to do with the investigation in Hanceville as far as the Ethics Commission or the State Bureau of Investigation. But this is what I wanted to say. We live in a good community. We have good law enforcement. And it is my job to get up and say that. You know, Hanceville's not a bad community. Anybody that says Hanceville's bad and crazy has never been around. I've been in some bad communities before. I've been in some rough places. We live in a good community because look at the number of citizens that are in here to say that they love their community and they want to make it better. And so we're just here to help you make it better. So Mayor, Council, I'm here to answer any questions or thoughts that y'all may have, and I'll help you with any of that.
Okay, we're open for discussion. Any questions for the sheriff?
Sheriff, on the patrol, what you said 20 officers is what deputies would be. That's including dispatch, jail, and so forth. How many would that be as far as what you think would be sufficient? Is that the total amount we would be able to have, or is there a sufficient number that we could get by with as far as what we're used to as far as the available deputies that you would have? And how long do you think it would take to get that number hired as far as if we started say in a month, how long would it take you to get 20 personnel hired in this day and time?
We begin our meeting, we're going to continue with the normal comments that we allow at this time, but it's going to be different from the meeting last Thursday. Tonight, we're going to strictly hold you to 3 minutes, and if you go over that, you're going to get the gavel, okay? But also, we're not going to allow any criticism of any particular person or department. You know, we heard you at your last meeting, and we've listened. But what may or may not happen in the past is in the past. And tonight, we are looking at the future. Tonight's meeting is called for this city council and mayor to decide the direction that the police department goes in the future. And so if you have a comment that you would like to come and state your opinion of why you feel like we should keep the police department, or if you have an opinion that you believe that we should contract out to the sheriff's department, then that's fine. But we need to keep our comments to that, okay? So I'm not acting rude, I'm not being rude or anything like that, but we're here tonight to discuss the future of the police department. So if you'd like to come and make a comment, then you're welcome to come. Anybody?